Hey, Jason. Before we pick a game for game night, Captain Lemur thinks that we should probably pick a game that's a little bit more family friendly, because a lot of people are watching and, you know, like the families, they kind of can't play some of these games that might be a little bit too complicated or a little too hardcore, so we should try some variety in our reviews and maybe do something that's a little lighter, you know, not super dumbed down, but just lighter and more fun for families.
Well, I guess you could say Captain Lemur has a point.
You know what I'm saying? And we gotta do it quick, because if we want Captain Lemur to be in it, he's gotta do it soon before he needs to go back to the zoo. Okay?
Yeah, you know that's a stuffed animal, right?
You're a stuffed animal. So this is Lanterns, the Harvest Festival game. It's done by Foxtrot Games and Renegade Studios. And it's by Christopher Chung. Yeah. So, Leonard. His name's not Leonard. I meant Lanterns is, Captain Lemur's favorite game. And so we thought we'd review it, because it's fun game and it's lighter fare, but it's a little bit more strategic than you would think just by these. And so the whole idea is that there's a grand lantern festival going on, and I guess we're all competing to have the best lanterns in the water or something like that, and it's based on formations that you form. And so you're collecting lanterns, and you have these lantern formations that you have to match up with other lanterns, and Jaysen will explain more of how all of this works, but basically you match lanterns, you get these cards, and then you eventually get victory points, and by the end of the game you win with the most victory points, and you had the best lanterns in the whole festival. And Captain Lemur loves that.
So you're just gonna sit there and stare at me while I do this. At its core, Lanterns is essentially a card collecting game. You're putting down these tiles and you're matching up colors. So in this case I would get a white, but then I also get the color of whichever color of the lanterns that's facing me. But here's the problem. It's 4 players, so as you sit on either side of the table, every member also gets the color that's facing them. So while you're constantly completing your own colors in order to turn in 7 of each color, or 3 of 2 of a kind, or 4 of a kind, you're also helping everyone around the table slowly win as you go. So maybe I just managed to finally get that green that I needed, but I also just gave someone a green that they really needed, so now they're going to be able to turn in points. And these victory counters, even those are a little bit more complex than first meets the eye. See, the first person to do this gets 10 points. That's pretty great, but the second person only gets 8, and it goes down from there. And so as you turn these in, you're slowly getting less points. Not to mention that the lantern cards themselves of the different colors are extremely limited. Depending on how many players you play, there might be only 5 to 8 of them, and they go fast. So maybe you have the perfect play to get 3 different colors and a token, and tokens help you trade things in for other lantern colors. But the blues are all gone because all your friends have them, and that kind of screws up everything. So while it's a very simple game, you can teach it in about 5-10 minutes. It's actually got a lot of strategy, because you're constantly trying to make sure that you win, but also don't allow your friends to win, because nothing hurts more in this game than being the reason your friend just got their first 7 of a kind when you were simply trying to get 4 of a kind, which is worth less points anyway. Right? Right? Yeah, just go. Ugh.
Simplicity and strategy. So it's simple, because all you're really doing is matching colors with colors, red and red, right? So that seems really simple. Anybody can understand that, and you can just play that as a game, really. But where it gets complicated and adds strategy is the fact that there are only so many tiles. Like, there are only 4 left in here if you had already put all those out. And while you're getting these cards, there's also a limited amount of these cards, right? As Jaysen mentioned. And so while it's getting to the end, because there's only few tiles left, you're trying to figure with the cards that you have left and the tiles out there are left that you actually have left in your hand, what can you put out there that's going to be able to get you some victory points? And it's very strategic because you have so many options. Sure, you can match colors all over the friggin' place, but you want to match the colors that will give you the most, in return. So sure, you can get a blue here and a black, but okay, then I'll get one of those colors, but maybe I need another color, or maybe I want to try to go for this one because it has more points, or right now it doesn't show that, but as these whittle down as we played, they get to different, points. So it's going to matter what you're going to get. So there can be a lot of strategy to this and a lot of simplicity.
Now, we've pretty much told you everything there is to know about lanterns, but it would be a real shame to not talk about one really important thing with this game, which is the artwork. This game is just so gorgeous. It just bubbles with color. I mean, when you go to play it, when you set it on the table, before you even start putting these beautiful pieces down that have the different lanterns that make this great, just almost like artwork on your table. You've got these tokens which are made out of wood. They feel great in your hand. They have nice little color on them. You've got all of the colors of the lanterns lined up, and they really just pop on the table. And then when you start to get these into your hands, yeah, it's really just a color matching game, but all of them have a little bit different design. You can really see like the detail of the water rippling around them. The platforms are all very nicely done. There's dragons, and there's koi fish, and there's pandas, and it's just so much color. It's a great family game. It's great for kids. It's great for everyone because it sort of just like melts onto the table. Like, it's one of those games that you see how colorful it is. You see the color on the box. You see the color of everything in this game, and you just want to touch it and play with it. Even the first player marker is this adorable little wood boat. Oh, this is not a game where there are rounds. You're not saying like, okay, on this round, you're the first player, or you're the first player. It really is just one more little piece of the puzzle here to make it just look and feel great. And it is a game that looks great on the table. And as you play it, sort of in a Carcassonne type manner, it's going to grow and evolve. And the more people who are playing, the bigger it's going to get. And it's just going to look so awesome on the table. If you ask us, it makes a great Instagram post. That's all I'm saying. Obviously, this isn't a game for people who are looking for something really deep or really strategic. This isn't going to be Terra Mystica. This isn't going to be Lords of Waterdeep. This just isn't. It's a fast game. You can play it in about 30 minutes. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. But that being said, if you're looking for a fun, colorful game for your family, I think it's pretty good. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I agree.
You agree?
Definitely colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, and I think Carl will be the first to tell you that it's a game you can get sucked into the strategy of. I mean, we played a game right before we started filming, and he got a little obsessive over where to put each tile.
I mean, and you, when you're playing a two-player game, it's actually pretty quick. It's pretty fast, and so it goes by so fast that every single move kind of does count in that sense, and when you're trying to make as many points as possible, you kind of have to think it through, think ahead a little bit based on where the tiles are already laying and based on what tiles you have left and what's left here to be taken is available and what other victory points are left that you can take. So there's a lot of different little angles, and they're not huge. It's not crazy complicated. It's just that, you can look at it from a couple different angles, and it makes it more complicated.
Yeah. I mean, in our last game we played, Carl could have won the game, except that we were out of blue cards because I had 3 of them and he had 2 of them, and he just couldn't find a way to get one more because it was the last turn. And you don't really realize how much your turns mean until it's close to the end, and it starts becoming kind of frantic as far as trying to get... Because you can only turn in cards once per turn, so you can't just save up until the end. You kind of have to, try and do it every turn if you can. So do we approve? What do you think? Buy it, play it, or pass on it? What would you say?
I don't know that I would buy it right off. I mean,
if you think that if you're someone who likes casual games and you know that you have friends that would rather play something that's a little simpler and calmer, and yeah, I would say buy it. But if you're someone who gets excited over massive rule books and playing really difficult hardcore games and you just picked up Imperial Assault, yeah, maybe play it first.
I think, this isn't necessarily a game that I would be excited about, and sometimes I, base what I would buy on how excited I'd be about playing the game. And so this isn't something I'd be excited about playing, but I can definitely see it as a good, starter game,
good
before the main game, a nice, family game. You know what I mean? A little. Though I'm curious about playing a 4-player game. That I think would be a little bit more fun, actually.
Yeah, get a little more chaotic.
Yeah, I would buy it for $10.
Oh, well, it costs more than that. So.
Oh.
All right, guys. Well, that's our verdict. I think we unanimously agree. Play it before you buy it and see what you think on your own. And that's our review of Lanterns. You can check us out on Twitter. I'm at Cucamonga This is at carlkaholi. Follow us on Instagram. That's primarily where we put most of our stuff these days. I'm at EasyCat. This is at carlkaholi. All of our videos are on BoardGameGeek. You can follow the Light 4. As Izzy shakes. LYGHT4, the Light 4. And we should be having an actual website where all of our content will be available soon. Thank you guys for all of your comments. Thank you for all your support. Thank you, Guy and Complete Strategist, who recognized us from our videos. That was a lot of fun. So keep watching, and we'll see you next time. Boop, boop. Bye.